I'm honored to be here with you today to kick off the program. As Rebecca mentioned earlier, the innovation that we're talking about is not just with China. In fact, as she implied, we're going to talk about a country somewhat on the other end of the spectrum, at least in terms of size, and that is Israel, which, on the other hand, on a person-per-person basis, per capita basis, is probably the strongest or second strongest entrepreneurial country in the world. And I want to tell you a story very briefly about a partnership between a university here in the States and a university in Israel that led to, as Rebecca mentioned, an exciting new opening in the city happening in the next month or two. The name of the institute that I'm going to tell you about is the Jacobs Technion-Cornell Institute. And I'll be very brief, but it's a pretty complicated story for a small place. Back in 2011, many of you are aware, Mike Bloomberg, who was then the mayor of the city, put together a competition for a new academic campus in the city. The idea was to do a better job of feeding the workforce needs of the growing tech industry in New York City, trying to keep some of the talent here rather than have it all go to California or elsewhere, and to produce a much tighter integration between academia and industry than we've typically seen in the past. So the competition was for an applied sciences and engineering campus, and it was entered by at least 18 different universities, both in the US and overseas. And eventually, at the end of 2011, Bloomberg announced that the winner of the competition was a partnership between Cornell University and the Technion Israel Institute of Technology. Having won the competition, the two universities created a new enterprise. The campus is called Cornell Tech, and as part of the prize, they were awarded the use of a substantial amount of land on the southern end of Roosevelt Island, with a very inexpensive lease for 99 years and a very sizable cash award to get things going. The institution, which started then in 2012, is graduate only, master's, PhD, postdoc programs, no undergraduates at this point, totally focused on what you might call digital technology. So we don't do hardware work, we don't do wet lab things, we don't do biology, we don't do chemical engineering. It's focused more narrowly on the high-tech digital world, as it were. Part of the enterprise is also to focus on needs of the city. So when you look at the application areas that we look at most intensely, they line up with really important industries in the city, from health to media to the real estate industry and infrastructure, transportation, etc. Now, soon after the original award, Cornell and the Technion were sorting out exactly how to form their partnership, and they created a formal joint venture, a separate institute, which is an academic joint venture. It's a nonprofit, 501c3. And soon after that, Joan and Erwin Jacobs, he, the founder of Qualcomm, donated $133 million as a founding gift to get the new institute off the ground, and at that point it took their name. So the formal name is the Joan and Erwin Jacobs Technion-Cornell Institute, usually abbreviated to Jacobs Institute. Now, this partnership is really interesting, and it would take a longer time than I have to describe all the ins and outs, so I'm going to give you a quick telegraphic view, and I'd be happy to tell you more details at a different time. Amongst the interesting things is that our institute is a joint venture, and it's autonomous. It's legally separate from Cornell and the Technion. Now, we have a board of directors, half of which is a Cornell group and half of which is a Technion group, but the institute actually goes along its merry way without direct ownership by either of those two universities. That gives us a great deal of freedom, especially compared to normal university environments. But at the same time as us being separate, we are a cornerstone part of the growing Cornell Tech enterprise. Over time, the Jacobs Institute is always supposed to be between a quarter and 1/3 of Cornell Tech as a whole. Right now, we're both small. It's still a startup. Cornell Tech has less than 30 faculty members, and the Jacobs Institute has fewer than 6. So we're just getting started. but we have big ambitions, and as you'll see in a moment, they've led to the creation of this spectacular new campus, which is actually only 1/3 of the grand plan that will play itself out over the next 25 to 30 years. As I mentioned, being a separate institution gives us a certain degree of autonomy, and our charter is really around experimentation in a way that you just rarely see under the normal university umbrella. However, we're built on two of the world's great research universities, and the quality of people that we bring in, both as faculty and students, is extraordinary. Absolutely top tier of the way you'd see it at the very best universities around the entire world. There's a very strong emphasis on entrepreneurialism, both in our curriculum and one of our innovative programs that I'll tell you about in a moment, and in our faculty. The idea is to work very closely with industry here, largely in New York City, at the large scale level, big companies that are established, as well as at the startup level. The other thing that we do as a joint project between Cornell and the Technion is bring a global perspective to the campus. And that includes, of course, our focus on Israel, but many of you know about Israel's venture in China, in Guangdong. We're working on a new campus there as well, and so we now have this really interesting triangle that we're part of, which is pretty exciting. I'm not going to go over all the details here, but Cornell Tech as a whole is an innovative entrepreneurial enterprise that cares about the common good and applying our deep science and technology work to the betterment of humans in the real world. It's got a pretty strong applied flavor. So the Jacobs Institute shares all of that with the rest of Cornell Tech, but because of our independence, we're out there even further to the extreme. We try things that could fail, which is a rare occurrence at universities. At least people rarely acknowledge failure, and they don't kill things that aren't working. Our job is to do that in the same way you see in the startup world. Fail fast, as it were. Do experiments. When we find something deeply innovative that works, then Cornell Tech and eventually Cornell and the Technion can adopt what we've done. But we're the one taking the arrows, as it were, and we really enjoy being innovative and having more of a flavor of a startup in industry and of a university. There are a number of features that we like to aspire to in the Institute. I won't go over these in detail, but you can see these are generally not quite the qualities we see at the typical university campus. We want to break down barriers, push the envelope of what academia can tolerate. We care about translational work and getting our science applied in the real world. We're very strongly around multidisciplinary work. I like to use the word transdisciplinary rather than just interdisciplinary. We don't take just lawyers and MBA students and computer scientists and operations research people and put them in a room and hope for things to happen together. We actually look for unification and overlap and invention of new science by having those folks work together on a day-to-day basis. And that's true both of the faculty and our students on the campus. We're very much engaged in key application domains, as I mentioned a few moments ago, and as I mentioned, we really care about, if you will, the common good. Our structure is simple. In some ways, the Jacobs Institute has two types of master's degree programs. They are dual degree programs, so when our students graduate, they each get a master's degree from Cornell and one from the Technion. And they're two-year programs rather than the more conventional one-year programs we have on the rest of our campus. Because they're two-year programs, they focus more on the application areas. We're trying to train people who are perfect matches for jobs in the health industries or in the media industry right now, and we're going to grow the number of programs in the future. And in a moment, we'll hear from someone who can tell you about how well that's working in terms of matching up. Another great thing about being two-year programs is that we can take in students who don't have undergraduate degrees in computer science. In order to do the one-year CS master's degree, which is a Cornell degree on our campus, you more or less need to have succeeded as an undergraduate already in computer science. Here we can take on journalists, biologists, filmmakers, and people in other areas who can learn things in application areas and become technical experts. The size of our classes are small so far, but we're, I think, doing a very interesting job. And I want to spend 2 minutes here. I'd like to call up Omri Sass, a recent graduate of our Connected Media program, one of the stars on our campus, a winner of one of the awards at our graduation. He'll tell you very quickly about his experience with the program.
For introduction. So as Ron said, my name is Omri Sas. I'm currently a product manager at the Wirecutter for the New York Times. I'm working on the best product recommendation service out there. And about a month ago, I graduated from the media program you can see up there at the Jacobs Technion-Cornell Institute at Cornell Tech. Did I get that right? To give you a quick taste of the opportunities that the school affords, and give you a few examples of what Juan was talking about. During my 2 years at the school, I led an official trip to Technion, conducted research into reader engagement online, worked on my own startup, consulted to other startups, worked with industry companies such as the Huffington Post, AOL, Cargo, took a year to explore biases in media coverage, worked part-time as a product manager in media, acted as a class manager, attended conferences, career workshops, and networking events, and that's why I need this piece of paper, because I honestly don't remember any of that. And on top of that, attended class, designed software, wrote code, wrote case studies, wrote research reviews, took courses that cover anything from computer science, business, social science, and it's not on the board anymore to kind of relate to the transdisciplinary part, everything that connects these disciplines. It's not just about courses in those disciplines, it's about bringing them together. And all of that while living here in New York, right? There's plenty of things to do in the city. I use what I learned at Cornell Tech every day in my new job. I try to make informed design decisions, conduct user studies, chase user validations, the same thing that we did on campus every day. I make technical decisions and data collection ones, and almost every action that I take is either informed by what I learned at school, or is grounded in frameworks that I took from school. And more than anything else today, I'm grateful for the amazing faculty and staff who encourage us to avoid the trap of boxing ourselves within specific methods. And they kept us critical and keeping our heads critical to find solutions that best fit our problems. I'll just wrap up by saying that enrolling in this program was by far one of the easiest decisions of my life. I definitely got everything that I hoped for in the Connected Media program, but so much more. So thank you all. I hope you kind of enjoyed that brief run through things that we do on campus. That was just my experience. Thank you all.
Oak is one of the best examples of what we're trying to accomplish, and he doesn't know it, but we're going to take him on the road with us. Another major distinguishing program at the Jacobs Institute is what we call the Runway Startup Postdoc Program. Without going into details, just think of this as a combination of a postdoc program for recent PhD graduates and an incubator. People come here to train, to learn, to start companies, and they do start companies. Lots of interesting stories about the companies that have been started. I won't tell you those right now, but Rebecca asked me to show you a little bit about the new campus, so in the last minute, let me just show you some photos of artist conceptions of what's being built. If you're interested and you want to go to the tech.cornell.edu site, you can see a live webcam shot of the campus, and you can also see a time lapse of the construction from the very beginning. This is as of a few days ago, looking south from the Queensboro Bridge. The tall building is our residential building, about 27 stories, using passive house technology. The building on the right is the Bloomberg Center. That's our academic building. It's a net zero energy usage building. There are geothermal wells on Roosevelt Island. You probably didn't know that. And there'll be solar panels on the top. And the third building in the center is called the Bridge, which is a unique element of the campus. It brings together industry and academia in labs, maker spaces, co-working spaces, and office spaces for startups and larger companies. In a more attractive color setting with a better sky, this is a real photo taken just the other day. You can see that things are almost fully constructed. We are moving over there in less than a month. This is the view from roughly the FDR on the east side. And then a couple of artist conceptions of what things might look like inside. So we're going to be there in less than a month, and the campus will have a dedication in September, and we hope you'll all come and visit us. A lot of the grounds are open to the public as well as the cafe in our academic building. So thank you all very much for your kind attention.